Okay, so here we are today, our MLB The Show fans. I was, or have been working on my lineup and depth chart spreadsheet. I was really happy when we got 22 and everything was compatible with 21 from the spreadsheet I was using. But as roster changes came and there were some updates, SDS changed the layout of their database a little bit from the API download. And with the way I had the batting order set up for the lineup tab on my spreadsheet, it was really high maintenance because of the roster changes. People going into free agency, people coming out of free agency. It was really, really tough and it took too much time. So I let it rest for a little bit and thought about it. And I think I've come up with a good solution. And because of that, I have updated my spreadsheet to show a few different things. Now, if you've seen my videos before, you'll notice in the center area here where I have the relief pictures and the closing pictures, I used to have two graphs. And I don't have those graphs anymore. They were cool and they were fun because they would follow the stats for who was at bat as long as I put my cursor over it. But I didn't really use it that much. And I kept wanting to know, who was in the bullpen for the team I was playing and who was I going to be facing. So I changed it a little bit to add that information instead. So here we go. Let me just go over this lineups tab that I have. And some of it hasn't changed and other parts has, and we'll get into it. So in the top left up here is the main squad lineup. Now in MLB The Show, you have the opportunity to have different lineups for different occasions. One is called your main squad. And so when I put in main squad, here it has my main squad that I have in MLB The Show. And then as you can see in column A here, I have the batting order. So that in the middle section, you can see the order that they bat in. So when they're up, I can look really quick and see what their contact is, what their power is, what their speed is. And so that's pretty helpful. And then down below the main squad lineup on the left here, I have the bench. Now this is helpful because I have what position they play, and then I also have what their secondary positions are. So if I want to sub them in for a member of my regular squad, I know where I can put them really easily. I know if they bat left, right, or switch. I know what their contact, their power, what their fielding ability is, and what their speed is. So that's really handy to have for when I want to sub somebody in. And when I want to do it, it's really easy. All I do is I go over here to column A. Let's say Adley Rutschman here. I want to sub him in, say, for Mike Piazza. So I'll put catcher right there, and boom. You'll see that he lines out. And if you look up in the main squad lineup, you'll see Adley Rutschman. And then over in the 8th spot for batting, Adley Rutschman. It changes it. I can put in pinch hitter, and it won't change my lineup because all I'm doing is pinch hitting. I can do pinch runner. It'll do the same thing. It'll line them out, but it doesn't change the lineup whatsoever. If I want to change the lineup that I have or my batting order, then I have to sub them in and put the position I'm subbing them for. Now then in the section below that, I have the instructions on how to use this sheet, which are really, I'm the only one that uses it, but every now and then, because I haven't done something in a while, I can look at it to remind myself what I'm doing. Now, in the middle section, as I've said before, is the batting order at the top. And in the middle right here, I have the opposing team. Now, whatever team I'm playing, say either it's on a conquest map or a CPU game, if it's a regular live players team, I can put them in. And I'll put in, let's say, the Twins. Okay, and now you'll see that things changed a little bit. Now, my pitcher for the Twins went blank, and that's because Carlos Hernandez is not a Twins pitcher. So I can go in and I can select the pitcher that's going to pitch, and boom, you can see his stats, his attributes populate. Now, the other cool thing is I have it set up for my main squad and my batting order for their attributes to adjust to what type of pitcher, if it's a right-handed or a left-handed pitcher. So Dylan Bundy's a right-handed pitcher. Take a look at these stats really quick, and then let me find a left-handed pitcher. Nope. Nope. Uh, nope. Surely the Twins have a left-handed pitcher. There we go. And now you'll see the stats changed. When I went from right-handed to left-handed, you'll see this. You'll see the stats change on contact power because it adjusts to the attributes for left-handed versus right-handed. And so I've done that. Now, below that, I have the lineup for the Twins and their batting order. Now, this was the thing that was really puzzling me before because every time they do a roster change, it would mess up the lineup. So I had to change that a little bit. And then below that is the Twins bench. And then in the middle section, we have the relief pitchers. Now I only have 10. Some teams I've seen up to 12 relief pitchers, as is the case with the Twins. They have 12 relief pitchers. So I'm leaving 2 off. And I might change that where I drop down the closing pitchers because normally I've only seen up to 2 closing pitchers. So I can drop that box down and give myself room for more relief pitchers. And I'll probably end up doing that in the next enhancement that I do. Now you saw here that over here I slid. This is so I can see the Twins starting pitchers, their relief pitchers, and their closing pitchers. And one of the reasons I have this is just for information because depending on, there's a thought out there that depending on where you put your starting pitcher, which slot, the 1 to 5, depends on which pitcher the CPU team is going to start against you. And the thought is if you put them in your number 5 spot, you'll always get their number 5 pitcher. Well, that's not the case. I've been observing carefully, and I've noticed that even if I have my pitcher in the number 5 spot, I may get the number 2 or the number 3 pitcher. And I think the reason is because it's going more off of the overall pitching. I'm not sure though, because I have gotten their number 5. I really haven't nailed that pattern down, but I'm watching for it. Now, to make all of this possible, there's 3 really key elements. The number 1 element is the database. This is the database that comes from the API download. Now, the unique ID is mine. I create this unique ID, and you can see the formula up here. I'm using my finger. That doesn't work. You can see the formula right here. And what I'm using is their name, their team, their overall, their series, and their position that they play. And I'm creating that. And the reason I don't take SDS's unique ID is because it's encoded and has special things that mean something to them. Well, I don't need all of that. And it doesn't tell me anything about who's playing. If you look at mine, I can see that it's a 61. The first name is AJ. The last name is ALE. So I know if I want to look, if I only see the unique ID, I can go to the database and I can look for that, and I can find it a lot easier, who the player's talking about. And sometimes that's necessary. If there's a change or something happens and I don't know what the error is, I can go to the database and I can look to see what happens. So as you can see, this is the database that I pull in. Now this isn't the whole database. SDS changed their database to include some of the things they're doing this year, like enhancements to cards and things like that, and some event things. Anyway, those are columns that I don't need. Plus there's columns for the picture of the card, for the picture of the fielding, the picture of the hitting, the picture of the player, the card. Anyway, there's other fields in here that I don't need, so I trim it down to just what I use. But this is the number 1 thing that's necessary in order for this spreadsheet to work, and that's this database. Now, these are all the cards that are in MLB The Show at the time of my download. Now, I downloaded this last night so I could take a look, and today starts the Future Stars program. This is the last day of the program we're in, and we're going to go into future stars. So when I was looking through the database, I noticed that there are some future star cards in here already. So they're preparing for this, and I don't know if I'm going to have to download it again after the program takes place, and if they'll add more future stars cards. But let me, I don't remember who the person's name was. I wonder if I can search for it. Let's see. Let's go future. There we go, future stars. So this one is Leover Peguero. I haven't heard his name, how he pronounces it, but he's a future star. So this is one of the future star cards. It's a 95, and it's from the Pirates. So that card is in here already, and there's some other ones in here as well. But anyway, so this is the database, the key, the base, everything. Now the next part is the inventory. Now this is the inventory that I have. The cards that I have, the cards I've earned or the cards I bought or whatever. And the way I get this information is by copying and pasting from the inventory page on their website. And then I have this tab over here where I take this information and I massage it just a little bit. As you can see, they have their player. Their overall is a text and not a number. For the most part, you'll see some are on the left. Let me scroll down here. Some of them come in as text and not as a number, and I don't know why that is. So I have a little conversion here that converts all the OVRs, the overalls, into numbers. You can see they have event enabled. I don't know what SC is, i.e., and then there's quantity, which is what I don't need. I don't need quantity. So what I've done is I've pared it down a little bit, and so I have here that I and change the quantity to whether I own it or not. And of course, the answer is going to be yes. And I do this simply for sorting and finding purposes, which you'll see in a second. So anyway, this is how I get the inventory, is by copying and pasting from the inventory page. And then I massage the data a little bit and put it here, and then I paste it onto my inventory tab right here. Now, as my play goes on and I gain a card, I will usually just add it here at the bottom of the stack, and then later I can go through and I can resort it if I want to, whatever. But every time I get a new card, I don't copy and paste. I only went down to my bronzes. I didn't go into the common cards this time. It was over 40 pages of copying. It takes a while to do. I've heard there are some people out there that are able to scrape the website to get it automated. I haven't figured that out or had them tell me how they do it. I just have heard that there's a couple people out there that know how to do that. So anyway, I do it the old-fashioned way, copy, paste, and here it is. So inventory, the second key to how this works. The third is player data. Now what I do here is I mesh the database and my inventory together. Now player data is only the cards that I have. It's not the complete database of all the cards that are in MLB The Show at this time. These are just the cards I have. And if you notice over here on AN, you'll see there's a column here for PXP. Now I keep track of the cards that I have leveled up in PXP, and that tab is right here. And these are the cards that I have that I've worked on PXP. Now I don't keep track of the players that are at 1, but I do start keeping track when they hit 2. And you can see 3, I have 2 players at 4, and I have 4 players at 5. All of them pitchers, because pitching is the easiest to get to 5. But I'm working on Mike Trout in center field and Mike Piazza as catcher to become my next 5s. And then you can see my 3s and my 2s also. So I keep track. And so when I get a new card that I just get a 1 on, then I will add it here at the bottom and then go from there. So that's where this data comes from for this PXP column. Now, why is that important? Well, when you get a player to have a PXP level, when you level them up a little bit, for every PXP level, their attributes go up 1. So what I can do now is I can take their attributes from the database, add their PXP level to each attribute, and then I have the attribute that they're playing with for me. And then you can see off on the right here, I have offensive average and defensive average. Those are just averages of their hitting and their averages of their fielding abilities. Now, why is that important? Because, well, on my lineup for contact, power, fielding, everything, it's their PXP level of numbers, not the database that's on the base. It's not the base numbers, it's my PXP. Now, if they don't have a PXP level, if they're at 0, then of course it's going to be the same as the database. But if they've upped it, if I've leveled them up at all, then this is going to show the attributes that I'm playing with, which is kind of cool. Now, how this My Team works is I have a tab here for My Team. Now, this is kind of laborious because I have to type in my lineup here. And what it does is it creates the user ID, and I have my bench, and then I have my pitchers. But let's say that I have a task where I need to play as, say, the Reds. So instead of my main squad, now I'm going to play as the Reds. Now you'll see over on my lineup, it changed from main squad to Reds. And over on my pitcher, you'll see it changed from Reds pitcher, or from main squad to Reds pitcher. But it kept Mike Messina as the catcher. And that's because it's using my catcher, or as a pitcher. That's because it's using my pitcher squad. What I need to do is go in here and put in any Reds pitchers that I may be using when I play the team. But as you see, my main squad didn't change here whatsoever. Nothing changed. What changed was over here in column I, where it says inning squad. And what it did, it pulled in the cards that I have for Reds players, and then it picked out the top ones for each position. So, like you'll see, Joe Morgan's at second. Tony Perez is going to be at third, right there. Colin Moran is going to be at first. So it picks the top cards for each position, and then it puts them in the lineup. And then what I can do over here, if I don't like the batting order that I already have set, I can change these numbers and change the batting order. Say I want to play as the Phillies. Okay, again, it changes it to a Phillies lineup. And when we come over here, you'll see here's the Phillies. If I don't have a card for a position, and say this is blank, or I want to play a different card than what it's offering me, I can override it by adding, let's take Cal Ripken, let's put him here as shortstop. And boom, it overrides and puts Cal Ripken over here, and you'll see him in my lineup at short right here. So that's in case I don't want the card that is being presented. I can override it. So that's how the My Team. Now, the next thing to look at is the depth chart. Now, this is a huge overhaul for what I had before. Before on my depth chart, I had every position. I had the top 5 players by stats for every position. Well, it got a little hard to see things at times. So what I did is I decided to change it so I could go by position. So say I want to find my highest fielding second baseman. I can go into each attribute and look for what I want. I can go to fielding, and boom, these are all my second basemen, and you can see their fielding is right here. Now I'm in the process of writing code, conditional formatting, so that it will highlight the column that I'm looking at. But you can see Joe Morgan is my highest fielding, followed by Tommy Edman, followed by Ryan Sandberg, and so on all the way down. And I just have 35. I don't have every single card I figure if I can't pick the player I want from that out of the top 35, I'm in real trouble. And I can look at their arm to see how strong the arm is. And you can see here, Gleyber Torres, Gene Segura, Willie Castro, those are the top arms that I have. And if I look at arm accuracy, you can see Tony Kemp, Josh Harrison, Tommy LaStella. These are the top arm accuracies that I have. Every attribute is covered, including my offensive average. Who's my highest offensive average? Well, it's going to be Joe Morgan. Right there at the top, Ryan Sandberg, Jose Altuve. Who's my top defensive average? Joe Morgan, Gene Segura, Nicky Lopez. So, if I just want a really quick overview, I can say, okay, Joe Morgan is the one I want at second base. He's my highest offensive average. He's my highest defensive average. And so that's the depth chart. I can look at every position, including pitchers. Let's look at defensive average. Byron Buxton is my highest for center field. Let's look at right field. Boom, Aaron Judge is my highest offensive average. And I can look and see that his fielding is 89, his arm is 76, his accuracy is 99. So if he's thrown into home, it's going to be right on the target. So anyway, that's the lineup. So I was talking before about how I wasn't able to keep up, or it was really laborious to try and change my lineup the way I was doing it, my batting order, because of roster changes and stuff. So what I've done is I've created a batting order table. Now, as you can see, this is sorted by team, and it has the 1 through 8 players. Now, how I got these numbers were through games that I've played. Now, as roster changes happen, you may have someone who's not in there anymore. And I can tell you right now, because I was looking through this last night, that I believe it was the Yankees that don't have a number 1. And so let me go to my lineup. I put in the Yankees here. And let's look at the batting order. Let's go to batting order here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, it wasn't the Yankees. What team was it? Oh, here it is. It's going to be the Royals. It's going to be the Royals. Let's change this to the Royals. Okay, now you'll see it still gives me a 1 through 8 or 1 through 9 because it has the pitcher. All I have to do is change this to a Royals pitcher, and that will then populate the attributes. So as you can see, it gives me the lineup, but when I go to the team batting order, you can see right here in G, there is no number 1. And so when I look at my table for the Royals, I can see that Alberto Mondesi is now a free agent. So I have to play a game with the Royals to get that to go. And I'll do that today. I'll play a game really quick before we get into the new program that's coming up. And so I've gone through everything else here except for one, and that is my scorecard. Now this is fun because I can put in here the codes for play. So if they get a single, a double, a triple, home run, walk, whatever, I can put it in here. It will calculate the PXP. And this is really handy. So say you only need 150 PXP for a team or a player to hit their next level, and then you just want to quit your CPU game. Well, I can use this scorecard to keep track of where they're at with their PXP, and then I can just quit the game when I hit the goal that I want. So I'll be enhancing this down the line so that I have for every player in the team, and then I can take players out so that if I don't have a full team for one, like if I have a Reds player on a Phillies team, I can take that player out, so it'll calculate still for the Phillies that I'm looking for. Anyway, so that's my lineup and my depth chart. I know this has been a long broadcast, and I hope that you find this as interesting as I do, because I have a lot of fun with this, keeping up with it. And when we do the roster update after we start the new program today, I'm going to see how things go, see how hard it is, and see if I need to make any new changes. So until then, I'm going to say have a good one and enjoy MLB The Show. It's a game. Remember, it's a game, and have fun with it.